in the Daily Nation as they take their seats. The Daily Nation front page, referendum, Ruto allies tell off Raila. That is the headline story. Dilemma whether or not to call a plebiscite to implement some of the proposals made by the National Dialogue Committee in the report appears to be the next battleground for the president and Azimio leader Raila Odinga. The outcome of such a vote in the president's first term could determine the winner of the 2027 contest, and both camps are aware of this. Also on the front page of the Daily Nation, Hustler Fund turns one with goodies for borrowers. President William Ruto engages a businesswoman at her stand during celebrations to mark the first anniversary of Hustler Fund yesterday in Nairobi. Besides a promise of increased loan limits, the president opened the window for borrowers to access part of their 2 billion shilling savings. Looking on as Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, among other officials. Sydney Chazima did file a report on that. Should you wish to rewatch it, you can find it on the NTV Kenya YouTube channel. As is this question of a plebiscite was taken on by Ibrahim Karanja. You can find that report he filed again on our NTV Kenya YouTube channel. Permanent jobs beckon for 46,000 intern tutors. Let's take a look at the paragraph that has been captured on the front page. The 46,000 intern teachers who are recruited this year will have their contracts extended in January for one more year before they are made permanent and pensionable employees in 2025. Teachers Service Commission Chief Executive Nancy Macharia told the Senate Committee on Education yesterday. And further down, I see an image of the Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who has ordered NTSA to crack down on illegal PSVs. MP Samuel Mashogu demand NEC changes over irregularities. And World AIDS Day, part of what we're discussing. Actually, the day that is informing what we're discussing this morning. Giving prep to pregnant women curbs infections by HIV, says a new study. Providing pre-exposure prophylaxis prep to pregnant women attending antenatal clinics can reduce HIV infections, according to a new study published in a renowned journal. And nation is at COP in the eye of a storm, suffering the worst floods in recent memory. Its temperatures on a seesaw and its people on tenterhooks. Kenya was yesterday cited as among the countries caught in the grip of a nasty climactic catastrophe of the COP28 Global Climate Summit in Dubai. Can new innovations, environmental policies, and William Ruto's green diplomacy turn things around? So there we go. That is what the Daily Nation looks like front page this morning, and feels hefty. So lots of content to get this morning. You can get the content on your device, epaper.nation.africa, because we have The Voice in here. We have Charms Media celebrating their 10th anniversary. We have the second private school expo and conference. Lots of content contained herein. I see Masinde Muliro, University of Science and Technology, 20th graduation ceremony. Jomo Kenyatta, University of Agriculture and Technology, unveiling another cohort of change agents. So lots and lots of content contained herein. Interesting editorial cartoon here. Let us see. This is what, page 18. There we go. Raila Odinga, I protest but accept anyway. So this has to do with the National Dialogue Committee report. I don't know why they have Kalonzo Musyoka with the two wipers sticking out of his forehead. Well, I know. We have Jeremiah Kioni with Sufuria on top of his head. Depiction of. And we have Martha Karua depicted there as well. And Eugene Wamalwa appearing to be in some thought. Okay, so that is the Daily Nation. Taifa looks at issues climate. Mabilioni kusafisha hewa Kenya. Saudi ya mwaga mabilioni ya pesa kufadhili mipango mikubwa ya kuondoa kaboni katika bara Afrika. And here we have an image of somebody planting trees, a couple of people, and then we have an oil refinery captured on the front page as well of Taifa Leo. huenda kampeni za kupanda miti ya serikali ya Kenya ni sehemu ya biashara ya Saudi Arabia kupiga vita kuondolewa kwa kawi ya mafuta inayochafua mazingira na kuchangia pakubwa mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. I see here wabunge wakosoa maafisa. Wabunge Turkana wataka serikali kuajiri polisi wa akiba kutatua zogo la mipaka. Koti yakataa kufufua kesi ya Mumias, ilikataa kufufua kesi ya ufilisi dhidi ya kampuni ya askari ya Mumias iliondolewa na wakili. I think that's pretty much it. Muujiza ajuza kuzaa pacha hospitalini. Muujiza ajuza kuzaa pacha hospitalini. Bi Safina na Mukwaya, mkazi wa wilaya ya Masaka nchini Uganda, ajifungua mtoto wa kiume na wa kike wenye uzito wa kilo 1.7 kila moja. And then let's see, Arsenal FC Man U wakisuasua. Vijana wa Arteta walikanyaga Lens 6-4 UEFA kunata kileleni kundi B. All right, let's take a look at the Business Daily. How Gulf firm baited Kenya into extending G2G fuel deal. ADNOC digs in for one more year to review premiums. Demands by UAE firm revealed in COP28 report. This one is by John Mutua. Let us get a bit more detail. One of the 3 Gulf oil majors at the center of the government. Let me just make this larger. Much better. One of the 3 Gulf oil majors at the center of the government fuel import deal has revealed how it pushed Kenya to extend the arrangement by 1 year as a condition for renegotiating prices, underlining the firm's power of leverage in the multi-billion shilling scheme. Informal workers also here further down on the front page of the Business Daily. Informal workers to access state-backed mortgage under new plan on the ticker. This morning, I see private firms to run 5 power transmission lines. At least 5 electricity transmission lines will soon be run by private investors as the government advances with its plan to operate part of the grid system under a public-private partnership framework. Subsidiaries lift bank forex income to 57 billion shillings. Kenya's Tier 1 banks recorded 4.9 billion shillings jump in forex trading income to 57.8 billion shillings in the 9 months to September, helped by growth in revenue from those funding regional trade deals. I also see that we have 6 days to Kusi, and then top 40 under 40 men of 2023. Interact with icons, pioneers, artists, social entrepreneurs, leaders and innovators. These men are mentors, disruptors, doers, and problem solvers. And I saw that Rain, the promo Rain, just before we got into AM Live. So I'm going to flip over actually, and take a look at these top men under 40, top 40 under 40 men. Guys, are you as curious as me? Let me just introduce my panelists. This one now is something we can all contribute. I don't want to put you on the spot with Masiasa, because we are here for SHRC. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sexual health and reproductive health education. Allow me to introduce you to my panelists. We have, let me start with Rosaline Omondi, youth advocate. This is Faith Adoyo. Rosaline, the hair matches. Rosaline Omondi, youth advocate, Gift with Love Foundation. I love it. I love it. It looks very nice. We also have in studio Faith Adoyo. I love the rap as well. I'm like, you need to teach me. You do. Like, I've always wanted to know. Girls and young women rights advocate, Plan International Kenya. And we have Stephen Mwangi, founder Mau Mau Haki Center. Good to have you in studio as well. You guys looking good? Feeling good? Oh, thank you for waking up this early to be here. But it's an important conversation we're having this morning. So let us together look at these top 40, under 40, right? Men of 2023. Business Daily, here we go. So they've told us on the front page to flip to page. Did they indicate on the front page? Okay, let me just look here. This is page what? 4. Looks more like a pull out. So, in partnership, this is a partnership I see with, am I supposed to be promoting who the partner is on air? I will skip, but let's just take a look at who they are and why they merit to be top 40 under 40. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Aha, I think I've gotten there. Have I? No. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Top 40 under 40 men of 2023. Meshach, nilikuwa nishaku introduce. So that's why I skipped. But for those who have just joined us, we also have Meshach Ndirangu. Ndirangu, yes, in studio. I was like, whoo, egg on my face. Yeah, Meshach Ndirangu, he's living positively with HIV. He's part of a discordant couple. I did mention the theme this year is let communities lead. All right, so guys, top 40, under 40. Let us begin with, so I see they have a couple of quotes there, but let's see. The judges were Philip Mwema. Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Here we go. So, judges Philip Mwema, managing partner at Anderson, Kenya, and Dorothy Oko, head of communications and public affairs for Africa at Google. Here she is. And Maggie Iveri, founder and managing director of TIFA Research. So number 1 is Moses Mulwa, 23. Why do I feel like that was ages ago for me? He's a software engineer, Bloomberg LLP London. Common wisdom dictates that one should be wary of blowing their own horn, but common wisdom is called that for a reason, because it is common. Moses Mulwa has never been much a fan of winnowed commonness or rule books. That's why he blows his horns, toots his trumpets, and lets those who have an ear hear. Isn't that how he got to London at the age of 23? Before that, he already had the ear of the Society of Engineering students in his university. He's quoted here saying, "My first project was with Kenya Space Agency, where they wanted to have university students make a nanosatellite for regional surveillance. I was leading the subsystem for the onboard computer." So Eddie Ashioya penned this one. We also have Festus Terer, 37, number 2, magistrate, Milimani Law Court. I always love such content. You know, sometimes the content in the newspaper can be depressing. So let's celebrate these guys today. Festus is a trailblazer. When he joined the judiciary 3 years ago, he encountered inefficiencies that delayed justice. Cases would often take too long to conclude as parties filed application after application. It was an emotionally draining process, not only for judicial officers, but also for children, whether they were in conflict with the law or just caught up in the custody battles between their parents. So I can't possibly read all of these, so just allow me to make mention. We have here number 3, Moriasi Omambia, 37, General Counsel and Head of Business Affairs, Sauti Sol Group. We have Muhammad Ahmed Abdule. Here, did I skip somebody? No, he is number 4. And he is Managing Director, Dakawu Transport. When I flip over, I see Joseph Ngira, 39, and he is Partner Kaplan and Stratton Advocates. We have here Philip Ivia Makuyu, 35, Head of Business, BAT West Africa, West Cluster. I see he's quoted here saying, "You should have a deep hunger to learn and a perpetual curiosity. Another thing is to be resilient, because sometimes it gets tough. At the onset, it is not about titles or money, but getting the right experiences, then the rest will come." Do you guys think that's accurate, Stephen?
Yes, please.
Do you have it? Do you have it? It's page 9.
Yes, I have it.
Do you think what he said is true? You should have a deep hunger to learn and a perpetual curiosity. Another thing is to be resilient, because sometimes it gets tough. At the onset, it is not about titles or money, but getting the right experiences, then the rest will come. Because you're a founder of Mau Mau Haki center.
Yes.
So do you agree with this, that at the beginning you buckle down and the rest will follow? The money, I don't say the fame, but the recognition.
Yes, that to begin, we must begin something based on passion. We must build it from, there must be some spirit that guides us, and everything else follows. If it's about resources to run an organization, that first we have to give the vision. We have to, it's the fuel that moves the organization. Yes.
All right. Okay, I like that. Ladies, sorry to, but you know these are top men, so let the men answer. Just okay, let's see. We also have on this list Baraka Kirich, 35. Where is that? Scroll further down so you can see his image. And he is CFO, Gertrude Children's Hospital. And next on the list, let's see. Kiru Muhoya, who is 26, just on the next page, co-founder and CEO Fingo Africa. We have Kelvin Kiptum first, 23 marathon world record holder. Amazing. We have here as well Francis Marsha Thoya, 33, director C Berry Snacks. We have, looks like there are a lot of pioneers here. Dr. Peter Ntege, who is 35, general manager, hospital, home care and pharmacies, Avenue Healthcare Group. And we have Edward Kipkalia, familiar face, who is Strategic Initiatives and Partnerships Officer, Emerging Leaders Foundation Africa. We have Dennis Njaga, 36, co-founder and managing partner, Kaka Empire. James Nandi, when you flip over, who is Assistant County Commissioner and Chairman, Peace Ambassadors Kenya. I like this photo. It's giving. Right, ladies? Is it not giving? All right, we have Joseph Muga, 36, medical head Sanofi, who is number 15. We have number 16, Jonathan Gishohi, him, lead in robotic process automation, Jubilee Insurance. We have Dr. Steve Mutiso on the next page. We are at number what? 17. Consultant, obstetrician, gynecologist, Aga Khan University Hospital. We have Mutia Mule, co-founder and chief operating officer, Solutech. We have James Kangaru Mwangi, 30, who is founder, Epitome School of Chess. Well, halfway there. We're halfway there. We have number 20. Give me just 2 minutes, Jonte, to finish up with this. All right. Lawrence Muchilwa, who is 33, co-founder, CTF Room. We have Dr. Karan Gadhi, 38. And he is... Can somebody help me with this one? Meshach?
Sorry.
Number 21.
Dr. Kari Gadi.
The profession.
Hepatobiliary surgeon. Yeah, hepatobiliary surgeon.
I put you on the spot there, didn't I? Sorry, thanks. So, we have Charles Jura, 34, Assistant County Commissioner and Huduma Center Manager. Here he is. Jonte, I will do the rest rather quick. George Gashora, 37, founder, Hever Fund LLP. Alex, we have number 24, Alex Muriu, 36, head of customer success, Money Point Inc. Number 25, James Ngodho, Kariuki, associate, DLA Piper. The image is also giving. We have number 26, Collins Muriuki, 33, Terra Software founder and CEO. Good morning, Dan. Dan Aseda, 39, architect, podcast producer, musician, Semabox founder and CEO. We have number 28, Dennis Orengo Juma, and he is co-founder and head of legal committee, Social Justice Centers Working Group.
Yes.
Yay! And next page here, we have Dr. Bundi Karau, 39, and he is a chief physician, Meru Referral Hospital, and senior lecturer at KEMU. Just 10 more. Dr. Kahura Mundia, here we go, number 30, who is a maxillofacial reconstructive surgeon, KPMD, deputy chairperson, lawyer, and Kiko Muo, 29, founder and CEO of Angaza Elimu. Almost there. Should have about 2 more pages. 32. We have on the other page Dennis Ngonela, who is the Chief Operating Officer Ngare Sero Soda. We have number 33, Amos Kibet. 36, Syntex It's Club's Chief Technology Officer. Sorry, Amos, I need to invite you so you can teach me how to pronounce this. Mtamu Kililo, 35. And he is co-founder and CEO, Michael Tile. We have Naman Geda, who is 39, head of investment and advisory, Afri Trade Investments. And number 36, Leshan Kereto, 25, founder and CEO, Tareto Africa. Number 37, Sahib Singh Khosla, who is 38, President, Actuarial Society of Kenya. And 38, we're winding down now, Frederick Moore, 31, CEO of Stand Up, Shout Out. So for Frederick, a missed opportunity to pursue studies and work abroad when he joined a Kenyan university was a blessing in disguise. It prompted him to seek a platform to shape young people into change makers. Stand Up and Shout Out, SUSO, a movement he started in 2013 while studying at QUER, the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, has spread across Africa. Our organization is all about training the youth to be self-sufficient. SUSO is a platform for change makers and leaders of today. And 39, George Mutua, founder and CEO, Global Precast Panels. And winding up our list here, number 40, we have Evans Kiragu, 26, CEO, Meccan Games. We decided to zone in on the humor. It is about being a powerful president, but making silly, hilarious decisions as you go. It worked like magic. So in July 2022, Evans Game, the president, based on fictionalized Donald Trump, was inspired by the former U.S. leader's ever-present role in public discourse. Kiragu and his team designed a game in the 2021 training course in Cape Town, co-hosted before. Okay, so yeah, so they have his CEO, Meccan Games. There we go. Yeah, and we'll wind it up there so that we can take a break with this quote. The president complains, the pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expected to change. The leader adjusts the sails. I like that, right? It's a good note on which to end this Top 40, Under 40 Men of 2023. Congratulations to you all, change makers, from what I've seen, leading in areas of research, innovation, change, social change. So speaking of social change, when we come back on the other side of this break, I'll quickly look at the headlines of the other papers, and then we will, which is just the Standard, Star and People Daily that I have left, and then I will get into the conversation this morning with Stephen, Meshach, Faith, and Rosaline. It is December the 1st. I think this is the one commemorative day that people don't forget. World AIDS Day. We continue with that conversation on the other side of this break. All right, welcome back to AM Live. And so I Just want to remind you, this is what we're discussing, letting communities lead this World AIDS Day 2023. But I did promise to drop it up with the standard. I got swept up in the top 40 under 40. So quickly, hits and misses of Ruto's pet project is the headline on the standard. William Ruto's message that raised the hopes and aspirations. The hustlers saw him clinch the... William Ruto's message that raised the hopes and aspirations. The hustlers saw him clinch the presidency. 1 year after the Hustler Fund was started, President is still hopeful it will solve their problems. Africa troops to Dubai with high expectations. COP28 begins with an agenda to address fundamental issues expected to reverse the adverse climate changes. 2 women resolve to live positively, get children, fight stigma. Inspiring story there, pages, I believe it's 6 and 7. Of the standard. More parents move to court over KCPE. Parents dissatisfied with their children's exam results are trooping to court, asking for results to be checked afresh amid claims NEC dropped the ball. The very top here, boon for teachers, pay boon for teachers as they get extra perks. That is page 12. But I want you to look at this page 6 and 7. Looks like it's in Homa Bay, because the image that is accompanying that is one of Susan Akumicha and the governor, Gladys Wanga. Yeah, let's flip over there. Here we go. So we have climate change on one page, and then the other page, 2 women's resolve to live positively with HIV, get children. Just look at some of the highlights. On this World AIDS Day, focus is on the prevention, care and treatment, prevention and response to SGBV and stigma. While Atieno's father-in-law had no problem with her status, the mother-in-law forced a separation. So there is a story contained in here. Then on the next page, we see steps by Nyanza region to reduce cases of HIV. Here we go. That is this story here. Prevention. Collaboration with the Ministry of Education, where there are school health programs, training of teachers on HIV, and engagement in technical working group meetings has worked in the fight against HIV. Quoted here is Kisumu HIV Lead Program Officer Dorothy Okech. Okay, front page of the Star, why Ruto allies reject Raila calls for referendum. Azimio chief calls for vote. President disapproves use of taxpayer billions. An image there of Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka there at the burial of Embakasi South MP Julius Mawathe's mother, Mama Phyllis Mawathe, in Mwala, Machakos County yesterday. Hustler Fund, 39.5 billion shillings loaned out in 1 year. Senators raise red flag on shortage of TB medicine. Nobel Peace Prize laureate takes final bow. Growing up as a young boy, Professor Ezekiel Okwemwa had a unique and rare passion among his peers, fishing, while his friends ventured into football or athletics during their free time. Okemwa walked down into Riasuta River, Itago sub-county in Kisii County. On the very top here, wrath of El Nino and struggle for survival in Kenya's north is what is the part of what is contained in the 16-page Siasa political pullout in the Star. Ruto in a tight corner. President in big dilemma amidst increasing pressure from the hustlers, IMF and courts. Okay, and finally, People Daily will wrap it up with that. 9.3 billion shilling edible oil row goes 9.3 billion shilling edible oil now goes missing. Senate team denied access to warehouses with sources revealing that health officials had declared consignment under investigation and fit for human consumption. This story is just, I don't even know what to say. Deaf man, my brave fight with HIV and tuberculosis, page 3. And gangs emerge to control Matatu industry. why health insurance could deny you marriage certificate. So this is pretty much what the People Daily has in store this morning. And at that point, just as we get into the 7 a.m. hour, allow us to now get into the topic of conversation this morning. Faith Adoyo, I will start with you. I haven't given you and Rosaline a chance to speak yet. So I'll start with you. What do you make of this year's theme, Let Communities Lead? Because the reason they say this was chosen as the theme is that this is to mark the pivotal impact communities have had shaping in the HIV response as well as global health at large. And it's an opportunity to reflect on the progress made to date, raise awareness about the challenges that remain to achieve the goals of ending ending AIDS by 2030, and mobilize all stakeholders to jointly redouble efforts to ensure the success of the HIV response. In fact, there is a quote I picked from here that I thought was quite captured it very well. Let me just find that. And it says, I shared this with you yesterday, I think. It says here that, let me quote, communities living with and affected by HIV, networks of people from key populations and youth leaders have been essential for progress in the HIV response. So, you know, communities taking the lead, let communities lead. Do you support that message? Oh, okay. See, Meshach is also like, yes. Faith, you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Completely?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because the communities themselves have the first-hand information. They know where the issues are, and they're the ones that suffer the most. So they talk out of experience, and we let them speak for themselves. Yes.
Rosaline?
I feel, let me give a case of a victim suffering from HIV. That victim goes to an hospital within the community. So that person who treats the victim is in the community. So I support the theme, let the communities lead.
Let the communities lead. Meshach, you are very vocal in the affirmative. Yes.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's because when the community takes over or leads in this situation, it's easy to eradicate the HIV and the other problems that are facing the youth and the children. It's easier. But when we let the government take over everything, you know, we'll burden them. And at the same time, every problem starts from the ground, from the root. So the community should start helping in trying to stop the problems in the community. Yeah. Okay.
So you agree with that? Now, I have the 2022 World AIDS Day report by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council, which I will pull up slowly. But some of what was contained in the executive summary from last year was this, and Angela Okech said as soon as she gets the 2023, she will share it with me. But I can only rely on what I have at hand. But it noted that. And I'll pull up the statement shortly, that this was last year, the estimated number of new HIV infections increased by more than 2,000 cases from 32,027 in 2020 to 34,540 in 2021. The report identifies the key challenges contributing to this reversal in progress, including the clustering of new HIV infections among children, adolescents, and younger people, and the impact of commodity insecurity. Actually, the National Syndemic Disease Control Council did raise an issue about condoms and saying that they should be freely accessible. But is that then the answer? Is there a bigger issue at play? Then we have further, this report highlights the urgent need to address inequalities that reinforce injustice and promotes negative health outcomes. The report also underscores the need to bridge all gaps that hinder progress for the most vulnerable subpopulations, particularly girls, young women, and children, while addressing syndemic factors such as sexual and gender-based violence and adolescent pregnancies that reinforce their vulnerability and risk of HIV. So the statement speaks to a lot. But because I have realized, Stephen, I didn't give you a chance to respond to the Let Communities lead. So perhaps you could weigh in on this, and then now we can take a closer look at the report. And by that time, I'll have it up on my screen.
Yes. I'd say from the 2022 report, it's clear they said there was a clustering they'd not done before about children and adolescents. And I think that will make sense to the increased number of reported cases. And to what my colleagues had mentioned on the theme for this year, I'd say it's the way to go, because communities can come up with ways that are preventative, and the government is usually responsive. So when the government hears about these cases, they will be coming in to respond to, say, emergencies, or maybe a spike in cases of HIV infections. But the communities themselves can use their own languages in the community. Say a place like Kayole, they'll be using Shembeteng that people can understand. If you go to Homa Bay, the best language to use there is Luo, that people can relate with. And why I think language is very important in terms of sex education is that it allows ease of communication from one generation to another. And it can be put in art, and it makes it easy to teach people about sex education. Yes.
I love that. You've put it so well. Meshach, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I do agree.
That part of it is somebody is speaking your language when we are dealing with prevention. So you feel like they understand where you're coming from, or they're one of you. Do you think it makes a difference when the communication is not necessarily coming top down?
Yeah, when you're communicating in the same language with the other people, you're able to connect with them. So I feel it's right, it's true. When you are connecting with the people, they will understand better than when you are teaching them with another language. And even it will be possible to get to the roots down there. It will be easy for them to understand. Yeah.
All right. So now so it'll be easier for them to understand. So they talk about vulnerable populations. You guys, you work in these communities, and they talk about, they specifically highlight injustices that contribute to rates of infection, and they identify as vulnerable. Just one quick second, let me find that portion of the the report. They talk about the need to bridge the gaps that hinder progress for the most vulnerable subpopulations, and then they say particularly girls, young women, and children. Is it due, anecdotally, because you're in these communities, Faith, working in these communities, is that true? Are these the most vulnerable are they one, because I know there's several, right? Are they one of the most vulnerable subpopulations?
Yes. For instance, where I come from, Mathare, women and girls are the one left aside to decide on contraceptives. It's like it's obligated to them. It's their duty. Men don't care, and it's all on women to take care of themselves and choose any contraceptives that works for them. Yeah.
Right. I have the report here. As it downloads, perhaps you can also weigh in, Rosaline, because this not really blamed, but attributes it to a number of factors. It says, so it highlights factors such as sexual and gender-based violence, adolescent pregnancies, teen pregnancies, that reinforce their vulnerability and risk of HIV. Because so Faith has talked about contraceptive use is left as a concern for women. What about these other factors, teen pregnancies and gender-based violence?
I think, on my opinion, teen pregnancy is very rampant because a lot of young adolescents are young women and adolescents. They are vulnerable and they lack resources. For example, a kid is supposed to go to school and they do not have sanitary towel. So this kid is forced to go and sleep with a man, so that he's given a little money so that he is able to take care of his needs. Whereas the parents are not able to provide, not that they are negligent or anything, they're just not able to provide totally. So these kids are forced to go and have sex, of which sometimes they end up being victims of GV because the man is maybe harsh on them, treating them in not a proper way because they are vulnerable already. So such scenarios are what is leading to high-teen pregnancy among vulnerable girls in informal settlements. On GBV, I think I am advocating for a lot of sensitization because as much as women are vulnerable, the men are also vulnerable in this case. So on GBV, I'd say a lot of sensitization is needed on both the women and the men because it's something that can be controlled if both the genders are talked to. That is my opinion.
All right. Oh, you have something to add to that, Faith?
Yeah. Also on the way of documentation, the way we document these cases put girls more at risk because when we talk about GBV, we state the number of girls and women who are affected. We leave men aside. Also, when we talk about the number of teenage girls who are pregnant, we don't mention the men behind it. So it excludes them from the conversation and they are behind the curtains.
I saw Meshach nodding. I was afraid. I was like, when she talked about teen pregnancies, I was like, okay, but do you agree?
Yeah.
Do you agree, Meshach?
Yes, I do.
How we frame the issues, that we frame it as a woman's problem. You're saying that is part of the problem.
Yeah.
All right. So, Stephen, because what I'm hearing from what Rosalina has brought on the table is that essentially there is a problem of poverty, and the problem of poverty must be addressed. This is an injustice, an imbalance that is contributing to, that is derailing efforts to end AIDS by 2030.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree on that. And in my community organizing work, a lot of the challenges that we've realized out of our research is poverty plays a key role in even someone finding justice for an oppression that they've gone through. And I like to think that poverty has no dignity. That when you're poor in itself, it's immobilized you. You cannot go to get emergency services from the hospital. You're not able to maybe even Google and know what symptom is this that maybe you're going through. And you're also marginalized from key services that say, most of them you find the police hospital. It's off the informal settlements, and that is where you need to get treated, get tested, so that you can use that in court. So I'd say poverty, it's true, it plays a very key role. And it's not just the informal settlements in Nairobi. Now think about the rural places far away where someone needs emergency treatment, or you need to take teenagers to go and learn something, maybe in a school. So it's very true that poverty plays a key role. Yes.
All right, so Kenya over the years has made significant progress, although between 2021 and 2022, according to this report, there was a, what's the word? A dip in terms of, there was a rise in the number of infections. So according to this report, in 10 years, Kenya doubled the number of people diagnosed with HIV and on life-saving antiretroviral treatment from 490,000 in 2012 to 1.1 million people at the end of 2021, with 73.3% of those on treatment attaining viral suppression. So there has been some progress made, even as we consider the fact that they say that despite these and other successes in the HIV program, the estimated number of new HIV infections increased by more than 2,000 cases in 2021. And so it goes on to discuss the issues that contributed to that. But Meshach, if you're willing to tell us your story, is it that women, the infections among women appear higher because more women go for testing than men, do you think?
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, many women go for testing. Men sometimes they fear to go for the test and maybe to accept the results. So yes, many women do go for testing, and that as a result makes us, you know when we have no awareness and we are fearful of what is coming next. That's when we stay back. We don't want to go be tested, which is very important for somebody to be tested, because you will know what to do. You know, you will know the measures you will take. And many women are ready to go and be tested more than men. The men are like, maybe they fear the results and maybe fear to accept and acknowledge who they are or what they have found out.
So, Stephen, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with Meshach that it's true that most women go for testing, but also most women are the victims of sexual and gender-based violence. So you'll find that for those who've been raped, for young girls who've been defiled, most of the cases are women, and the perpetrators are the men, who again don't go for testing. So it makes sense that there is that rise, that rise in the numbers, and that the rise is women-based. So I agree that there's the issue of testing, but there's also the issue that people don't talk a lot about, that most of the victims of SGBV are women. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Meshach, you look like you have something to add to that.
Yeah, I would say another problem is stereotyping. Mm-hmm. Some people think that going for the testing is for women and kids to protect themselves, but some men feel, oh, that's not my part. So they feel, oh, I'm okay, I'm comfortable. So I think, yeah, that's another problem that is the community is facing.
So the stigma around HIV and AIDS, would you say, like, it's not really a big deal as it was in the 90s? You know, there would be these campaigns rolled out about ABC, abstain, be faithful, use a condom, ukifreak bila socks, no diggity trip, I'm betraying my age. But, no, I talk about shemeting, I was like, me, the only thing that's coming to mind is Gota. I don't even think that qualifies now. But do you think people are now more laissez-faire, especially the younger community, the younger generation that didn't grow up in those times, about the risk of contracting, the risks of the risk factors where contracting HIV and AIDS is concerned? Rosalind?
I think as much as there is awareness and sensitization in the communities,
there is
awareness and
there is awareness.
Yeah,
there is.
Yeah,
okay.
There is. But still people are ignorant, and also I think basically people are ignorant because a lot of sensitization is being done with advocates, to the government, with NGOs, but still people are ignorant. Also, some people just get involved. Well, they really know they are getting involved, but they just don't care. So there is a lot of awareness in the communities.
Is that the case, Faith?
Yeah, I think the approach of advocacy to this issue has improved because it's no longer scary. You know, the way it was packaged before, like AIDS kills, the poems people did in schools. Now the approach is better. It's more on preventive measures. Yeah. All right.
So, Stephen, often it's said, and you know, some statements are are made as generalizations and are not necessarily true, that, oh, young people are more afraid of getting pregnant than they are of contracting HIV and AIDS. In the work you do in the community, have you found that to be the case?
Yes. Initially, I'd say when the disease became known, having been the first time that people are got to hear about HIV and AIDS, it will make sense that people are very scared about it. And it's
sort of like the COVID pandemic.
Like COVID, yes. And right now we are hearing issues right now happening in China. And the flu is not much of a struggle for people's minds right now. So it's true, but also knowledge is power. People have learned that this is how to have protected sex. This is the way to avoid. Take PrEP tablets and you'll be okay. So initially, the awareness was not there. And now that people are aware, there's the confidence in how to deal with the disease, how people even view people who are sick, that people can even appear on newspapers like this and have their faces, have their names, and say that I'm a survivor or I live with HIV and AIDS. So right now I feel that people are more confident in the way they deal with HIV than they were in the past. But it's also true that people seem to fear being pregnant more than getting HIV due to the way, the randomness of sexual activity, say even in the universities, in the clubs, the intergenerational sex that we see even in Mombasa at the beach. So ni ukweli, watu wanaogopa mimba kuliko ugonjwa.
Really? But you bring a lot of interesting points, the intergenerational sex, what you're calling the random sex, but like technology has evolved and like there has been innovation in this space. A lot of research, a lot of money has been pumped into research in this area and trainings and such. But you spoke of PrEP.
Yes.
So the pre-exposure prophylaxis. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit for those who may not be familiar with the terminology, Meshach, what that is.
Okay, PrEPs means pre-exposure prophylaxis.
You know, you said PrEPs. Wala walienda boarding school wanafikiria ile PrEPs, ile PrEP.
Hapana, sio hiyo. It's called pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is used by the person who is HIV negative to prevent them from being infected. Like in my case, my wife is negative and she uses PrEPs, you see, but I am positive. So the medicine itself helps to prevent the other person. And at this moment, the government has allowed the people to get the drug from hospitals. So if somebody just ignores to take those drugs, the rate of infection goes higher. So I would encourage people to go and get PrEPs. At the same time, I wanted to add to what my sister said about awareness.
But you know, the concern for me is, and this, I don't know, I've had this in conversations along the corridor, is that okay, I get it's like part of safe sex if you're if you're consciously in a relationship such as like knowingly, you know, like you're married, you're in a relationship, it makes sense for your wife to protect herself in that way. But what about those who use it as a substitute for safe sex in the random setting that Stephen is speaking about? I don't know. Is it okay?
I'd say there are cases where it will make sense. Say a sex worker. A sex worker, sometimes they're not able to control the transaction of their business. So they will need to take it. And they will take it not because they know the person is sick. They will take it because they want to be safe. There's also on the issue of unconsented sex. We know the way young people go to the clubs, and then there's a term we use, and people use, a lot of young people use, kuchotana. So if someone wakes up in the morning, na umechotana ama umechotwa, the best way that you can be safe is to take the PrEP. So for me, I'd advise that it's best to ensure that one takes it if you're not if you've had a sexual if you've had sex with someone that you're not in a relationship with, and or someone that you're not very sure whether they're sick or not.
But how effective is it? Maybe you can tell us, Meshach.
Yeah, it works because I've lived with my wife for 1.5 years right now, and she's okay. We even have a baby.
Congratulations.
Who is negative? Thank you. So I do believe it works, but I wouldn't advise that you take it as a prevention for like using it for like sex workers and all that, because it will only protect on HIV, but these other diseases will still be there. So the best thing is use it at the point where you are supposed to use it, like in marriage or something else. But when you just say, okay, you're going to use that for protection, it won't protect you from other diseases. Yeah, it won't.
Okay, interesting, interesting point that. But sorry, I cut you short. So you're married. You're in a what is defined as a discordant couple.
Yes.
You're a discordant couple. You've been able to have a child, and that is part of the progress, right?
Yes, and
when it comes to what we are doing today, right, is we are also marking progress.
yes, and even adding to the theme. We are trying, me and my wife, we are trying as much to sensitize the community, to create awareness. We use our TikTok, so we speak to people through social media, even Facebook. We speak to people, and we have realized that some people do not know at all about HIV. Others, they know.
Don't know at all.
Yes, some don't know about the discordant couples and all that.
Okay.
And others are ignorant of it. They know, but they just want to play around and just do things without following the knowledge that is there. Yeah.
All right. So you want to come in, Rosaline?
Yeah. I want to ignorance is why you end up saying people are okay getting HIV and they're not okay getting pregnant because they feel HIV, nobody will know I have HIV because kama nameza madawa nitameza tu nikiwa mwenyewe, but the moment I'm pregnant, like everybody is going to know I'm pregnant. Yeah, that is what is bringing ignorance and people choosing to have HIV instead of pregnancy.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, Stephen, we'll need to take a break, but we'll come back with your comments because I want to hear about the work you're doing. So, you've talked about your TikTok advocacy, the work you're doing as well in your communities, how you're reaching this younger population that is more worried based on anecdotal evidence about catching a pregnancy as opposed to catching the disease. On the other side of this break. Welcome back. But Rosaline was telling me a little bit about the work they do with their foundation, and that is Lift with Love and Gift with Love Foundation. Gift with Love. Tell us a little bit about the work you do.
Okay, Gift with Love is a community-based organization. We currently work in Nakuru. What we do, we empower adolescents and young women to have the menstrual knowledge, and also we provide them with the menstrual products, the reusable sanitary pads, disposable tampons, and menstrual cups. So we first identify the vulnerable girl from the different place within the county, the Nakuru County. Then after that, we affirm that the girl is vulnerable, and then we come in and provide them with dignity kits for 6 months. So we give out, there is somebody who is on ground who take it to them every month. Every month they're given two. The reason why we don't give all of them is because we discovered that some of them sell the pads because they don't have money. So they sell the pads we give them so that they're able to maybe get the money and buy food to eat. So that's why we created a program, and somebody takes it to them every month. So every month they're given two until 6 months, and if we get enough donations, we do it the whole year or until the pads zimeisha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say, which communities do you work with in Nakuru?
We work in Njoro community, Subuku community, Bahati, and the other side in Dundore, the border of Nyandarua and Nakuru. Yeah.
And you're saying Western Kenya?
Western Kenya, we had a project once on 28th of May when we were celebrating International Menstrual Hygiene Awareness Day. In Aero specifically, on that day we were able to donate sanitary to over 100 school girls. In the school was called Kandaria Mixed Secondary School, and also in that school, actually we realized that the school had teenage mothers who were still in Form 2, Form 1, and having a conversation with them, they were like, they didn't have money to buy food for themselves and their kids, so they had to go and have sex to get the money. And in the process, they got pregnant, and they were not able to abort or anything, so they had to keep the kid as young as in Form 2. Yeah. So most of the time, we identify the vulnerable girls and help them get the dignity kids.
Because you are bringing in the perspective of sex for pads that we hear about. And also the teen mom, which have all been identified as risk factors in this report. Stephen, Mau Mau Road Haki Center, Social Justice Center. This for you, is it a social justice issue?
It is a social justice issue. And the way we approach it through the reproductive health campaign at the Mau Mau Road Haki Center. And the Mau Mau Road Haki Center is based in Mlango Kubwa, Mathare constituency. And apart from the reproductive health campaign, we have other campaigns, campaign on the right to life. That is where we teach young people about their rights as arrested persons, the right to fair trial and to a fair hearing. We also have a campaign on ecological justice. And yesterday we launched a People's Assembly on ecological work.
What is ecological justice?
Ecological justice is the right to a dignifying environment. An environment where you have enough trees that is clean, an environment that nourishes you. And why we have that campaign is because for a very long time in Mathare, you'd look past a horizon and you've not seen any tree. And we decided to change that narrative for our generation and for the generations to come. So we do a lot of tree planting, graffiti on the shanty walls, and a lot of also legal education through what we call a legal cafe. So is where we have a discussion like we've sat down right now, and we start discussing the law. So, for example, we'd start discussing the law on, say, the environment. People do not understand the laws that come with the environment. And like the name suggests, Mau Mau Road Haki Center is to ensure that the spirit of the Mau Mau, that they even gave their lives to fight for this country. Right now, we wouldn't necessarily need to give our lives, but we can give our time, we can give our sweat to ensure that our communities are good and that we leave a better space for our future. Yes.
Wow. What inspired you to found the Mau Mau Road Haki Center?
The inspiration, I'm a student of law. I study law
at Strathmore? Did I see that right?
Yes, at Strathmore, yes. And having lived in Mathare, the things I did not understand, and not just myself, other young people did not understand, that they have a right to. So when I was in my first year and studying constitutional law, I hear that we have these particular rights through the Bill of Rights. And having a discussion with my dean, I get to see that it should not be normalized that people are extorted money from, or that that their teenage pregnancies, young women are married off to very old men even before they reach the age of 18. That is something that is normalized in so many communities in Kenya. And seeing that, having that knowledge made me confident that I'm able to even go to a police station and discuss a case for another young person in the community and they're released. And I started sharing that with my friends. So I start telling them about, say, particular rights within the Constitution. And when I saw that they started using it, they become more confident, we chose to spread it throughout the other communities in Mathare. And the Momo Rodaki Center is part of the social justice movement, which is a collective of so many centers in Nairobi, Mombasa, and the western part of Kenya. So my inspiration is the Constitution and the spirit of constitutionalism. Yes.
Okay. And do you think it, because you're saying already you have witnessed a change in the confidence in the people, the young men, young women you work with,
yes.
Because now they know their rights. But in many instances, people know their rights. Other people just don't
respect them.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's true. However, when it comes to respect of somebody's right, the other person could be ignorant, or they're just not afraid of the law because they will pay some amount. Let's say the young women, I could give a case example, let's say a community like Kiamaiko or communities in northern Kenya, where very young women are married off to very old men, and they've not reached the age of majority. These older men know that they will pay off and get away with it, that they've even married another 4 young women and they've gotten away with it. So the issue of respecting the right also comes with knowledge and fear of the repercussions of breaking the law. So for people who don't even know the law, they won't know that their rights are being violated. So it's better when somebody knows, because they can now seek redress for the particular violation. And I believe with time, we are going to be able to ensure that everybody within the country is able to understand, to have knowledge of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Yes.
But justice is expensive. It has been argued. But Faith, you work with Plan International. Kenya is part of the She Leads program. So this is squarely in that SHRH space. Yeah. So is this an issue of not knowing this, the rise in infections, right? The 2,000 cases we're referencing based on last year's report. Is it a case of people not knowing their sexual and reproductive health rights? Is it a question of sex education, not knowing, or is it a case, or is it they know, they just don't?
To me, I'll argue on that based on the gaps that are there. So as She Leads, we identify the gaps, and majorly our advocacy, we direct it to decision makers. So it's meaningful engagement, the people that make these decisions, the people that we can present evidence-based facts to them, and they'll take note and do something about it. So it's not based on majorly engaging the community as such, but it's about policies and talking to the right people to make decisions. Yeah.
All right. So this is sometimes in situations such as those painted by Rosalind, people are forced by circumstances into these high-risk situations. You mentioned, Stephen, sex workers. You mentioned these teen moms. You mentioned people are so poor that you give them sanitary towels, and rather than use them, they would rather sell them to have money for food to eat. I mean, that imbalance is just astounding. But perhaps you could, if you're comfortable, Meshach, sharing a little bit about your story. How is it? How did you discover you are HIV positive? How did it impact you psychologically?
Okay, before I speak about my story, let me say I also do something. Thank God everyone here does something. Yeah,
I know you mentioned the social media platform.
Not only that, I work with the KESCA, Kenya Society of Caregivers. I was brought up in a children's home, so we are trying to mobilize young people who are brought up in a children's home so that we may work together, and we are trying to advocate for them, because there are those that are released into the community and The community does not accept them. Maybe their relatives wants to harass them. That is where we come in as Keska. Yeah.
Spell it for me, Kes?
Keska.
K-E-S-C-A. Keska. So
Yes. Kenya Society of Caregivers.
Of care?
Caregivers.
Caregivers.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's caregivers.
All right. So, I tell us about your story.
Okay. I'll try to put it to summarize it, because I was born in 1987, where HIV discrimination was very high, and I was almost becoming part of the victim of those children that were thrown away, because there were many children who were thrown away because of HIV and
You were
others.
born with HIV?
Yes, I was born with HIV. So I thank God, because I was not thrown away or rejected. My grandmother embraced me. I was admitted in 1995 in Nyumbani Children's Home. That's where I've grown up to understand about HIV.
So that's how you ended up working with Keska?
No, yeah, because I'm from Nyumbani Children's Home. See, so that's after that, I got the awareness from the home. I was brought up well. I say I thank you to God because of that. And recently is when I joined Keska, so that we may work together to mobilize people and to advocate for the young people who are going through a lot. At the same time, I use my platform, the TikTok platform, to
tell us what to look for. You know, sorry, I'm not on TikTok, but I'm
Yes.
sure these guys are Stephen, Faith, and Rosaline.
Thank you.
So your
for
TikTok account is
Discordant Couples 0.
Discordant Couples 0.
Yes.
Okay.
Without an S. Discordant is without an S. Discordant Couples. Couples without an S. Yeah. Sorry.
Couple or couples?
Couple.
Couple. Discordant
Yeah.
couple. 0.
0.
Like the spelling 0 ama
0 ile.
ile. Oh, okay. So all right. So I mean, so has there been progress in your view? You talked about being born in 1987. Has there been progress in how persons infected with HIV are in the acceptance, you know, by society, being embraced by society, that you're just like anybody else, you're one of us? Has there been progress in breaking that stigma?
Yes, there has been progress, because I remember there is a time that we were supposed to be admitted in public schools, and there was a problem about that, to an extent that the home had to go to a court of law in order to speak about it, and we were allowed to go to public school. At first they did not allow. There were problems and issues, and we were allowed to continue studying. So I would say there is progress. At the same time, people are acknowledging us. Nowadays, HIV people, we are being acknowledged and accepted. So we thank God for that. But there are still others who come, especially when we are talking on TikTok. There are some that are very naive and feel like we are doing a bad job, so they come with insult and all those things. But we don't focus on that. We focus on the most important thing, that 2 or 3 people will benefit. Yeah, that's what we do.
So, well, I mean, we all want to meet someone who we will fall in love with, start a family. I mean, did you at one point think this is not possible for me because of my status?
Yes, I did, and it was even hard to get somebody. But I thank God for my wife. She accepted me the way I am.
So how did you go about that? I mean, getting into a relationship, how do you have that conversation? and when was this?
I had to create awareness on her to make her know that we can live together and have a family, because she didn't know. At the same time, we had.
If you don't mind me asking, how did you meet?
We met at one of our friends, a TikToker, Benasofty. That's where we met. We had gone for a housewarming party, so she came there. And
he was on here yesterday with Nuru Abdulaziz.
Yes. So that is where she came in, and they were actually interviewing us, me and Bernard. So when they came for the interview, she heard about me. I talked about my story.
She's a journalist?
No, she was just assisting.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the YouTubers, the station in YouTube. So she came, and that's where we met. So I had a hard time to convince her that we can live together. I had a very hard time, but later she accepted and
uliona msichana ukasema huyu ndiye ule napeleka nyumbani. So she, right from the get-go, she clearly knew that you were living with HIV positively.
Yes, she did, but she wouldn't accept because she thought that I was healthy, I was strong, and she was like, no. That guy must be lying. But later she acknowledged, and I did my best to take her to some of the hospitals so that she may get awareness and counseling too, so that she may accept me. And she did.
And she did. Oh, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
A very beautiful story. So, as we mark this day, and the National Systemic Disease Control Council says we must not relent, we must keep our foot on the pedal to meet the target of ending AIDS by 2030. What would you say, like, for policymakers? I know you spoke about policymakers' faith, but what, your message to the young people listening, your message to the policymakers? I know the national celebrations festivities event will be held in Meru County. So for those listening, what would you like to tell them, Roslyn?
Personally, I'd like to tell those listening that your dream begins with you. So I am because you are. And for us to, I know we cannot end AIDS because we have victims. And for us to reduce the numbers, kila mtu ajitume. Because maybe as an advocate, I can't go to the community and teach young people, don't do this, but there is a lot of ignorance. At the end of the day, hakutakuwa na productive results. We will still be at the same point. The numbers will still be rising. Victims bado watakuwa. SGBV will still be going. So it's everybody's, kila mtu achukue ushukani, tujitume wote. Because at the end of the day, I need you and you need me. So that's what I tell everybody. Kila mtu ajitume so that we win this. If we have to win it, all of us must join the fight. That's what I'd say.
Okay. I like that. Kila mtu ajitume. I mean, even now, one of the young ladies I was speaking to yesterday was telling me she will not have a sexual encounter until wajipime. They are now the self-test kits. In fact, Leon Lidigo, before I forget, did has filed a special report on that. You should be able to find it on nation.africa. He told me he demonstrated how it works to Pamela Sitoni, who is our managing editor. He tried it with me, but he was really rough with that. Okay, he had gloves on, but aliniumiza kiniprik hapa. But yeah, so get tested. They're now self-test kits that you can do in the privacy of your home before you engage in any relations. But your message, Stephen?
I agree with her that it's collective work. We have to come together. They are the medical practitioners, community health workers in the communities. They are teachers in schools. They are parents at home. They are people from the clergy. That if we ensure that this message continues and it's taught on all those platforms, that even in advertising, as a CSR duty, people can ensure as you advertise over there for a very good drink, that there's like a small message over there that abstain from this, or there's a test kit, because it's collective work. And in ending ignorance and disease, we cannot end ignorance on one corner of this country while the rest of the country remains ignorant. So it's collective work. And one particular message is to the media, and I really thank you for hosting us here. And the message is I learned from a person living with a disability that they got to learn about HIV and AIDS way later. The entire world, the entire country was everyone everywhere was talking about HIV and AIDS since the 1980s, late 1980s. But persons living with disabilities, the ones who can't hear and those who can't see, they only got to start learning about this in 2000s, early 2000s. And recently we had COVID-19. You can imagine those who can't see and those who can't hear. When the emergency messages were being sent, usually they're sent on newspapers, they're sent on live TV, on radio, but they can't access all this information. So that when these emergency messages are sent about killer diseases, we should be able to think about persons living with disabilities and how they're going to get this message. Yes.
Thank you for that, for not allowing us to forget.
Yes.
Faith, your last word on this?
Mine is
this morning, because the conversation continues. Conversation continues.
Okay. Mine is call to action to CSOs. There's an urgent need of introduction of comprehensive sexual education in schools. Also, parent-child communication should be advanced and boost on youth-friendly facilities, because young people don't access these services due to the backlash and the profiling that they get in these facilities. And lastly, mass testing. The way we do polio, it will be nice if we go door to door offering these services. Yes.
Okay. That's a thought. Why not? Meshach?
First, I would like, before I speak about that, let me first say today is World AIDS Day. And I would like to acknowledge or thank, I wish she was here, my wife, who is in a special way, because she has stood up to fight for stigma. She's always online. When I'm out, at work, she's there talking to those people. So I take her as my hero for this day. She's fighting against the HIV stigma. Now, what I would like to tell the young people is one simple statement. Know your value and know where you're going. Know yourself and you will know where you're going and what to do. But if you don't know that, like in the case of HIV, when you're fearing to be tested, you will never know if you're positive or negative. And if you're positive, the problem is you're at risk of getting infections. So you will not know what is ailing you. But when you know, okay, I'm positive, now what are the next measures? Just accept yourself and go to the hospital, get the next measures, and you'll be okay. At the same time, the ones who are negative, please, please, I know what I've gone through since I was born, about the stigma and all those things, and the problem of taking medicines every day. So I would tell them, please, please, try as much as you can to abstain. Try as much as you can to keep off from HIV. That's what we are trying to do even in our platform.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I want to thank you so very much. You guys are so inspiring. I was about to start weeping here. But you're doing amazing work in your own capacities, because even, I mean, get tested. Get tested. No, it is not a death sentence. Look at Meshach here. He is married. He has a child. But he wanted to make sure his child is born negative.
Yes.
Right? Because he doesn't want his child to take medication for the rest of their life.
And even my wife. And
even your wife.
Yes.
So he is protecting his loved ones. He's protecting his people. But he's living positively. So get tested. You've heard from the young people here. Kila mtu ajitume. Kila mtu ajitume. Stephen has said, do not forget persons with disability in sharing out these messages. And Faith has said, policymakers, tuko na nyinyi bampa kwa bampa. All right, so I want to thank my panelists this morning. I'm going to say my last word on this subject is let's talk about it, and which is part of what Leon Didigu is trying to do. So do head to nation.africa. There is no shame to me talk mbali. There has been progress, but we must keep our foot on the pedal to end AIDS by 2030. So I want to thank Meshach Ndirangu, who is living positively with HIV. Thank you for sharing your story.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We also have in studio Faith Adoyo, and she works with Plan International Kenya advocacy work. She leads program. We also have the founder of the Mauma Road Hockey Center, and that is none other than Stephen Mwangi. Thank you for being here this morning. I also want to thank you, Rosaline Omondi, who works with Gift with Love Foundation. And yeah, so thank you so very much for being here this morning. Thank you for giving us your ear and your eye. We head to TV Meets Radio this morning, and so the Morning Fix coming up on the other side.